Our daily Bible reading for December 24th. Our reading today comes from the book of Revelation, chapters 14 and 15. Revelation, chapters 14 and 15, we'll begin reading in verse 1 of chapter 14. Then I looked, and behold, on Mount Zion stood the Lamb, and with him 144,000, who had his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the roar of many waters, and like the sound of loud thunder. The voice I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps, and they were singing a new song before the throne and before the four living creatures and before the elders. No one could learn that song except the 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth. It is these who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. It is these who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been redeemed from mankind as firstfruits for God and the Lamb. And in their mouth no lie was found, for they are blameless. Then I saw another angel flying directly overhead with an eternal gospel to proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people. And he said with a loud voice, "Fear God, and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water." Another angel, a second, followed, saying, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, she who made all nations drink the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality." And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and its image, and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger. And he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, these worshippers of the beast and its image, and whoever receives the mark of its name." Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Write this, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Blessed indeed, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds follow them." Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and seated on the cloud one like a son of man, with a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, calling with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe." So he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle across the earth, and the earth was reaped. Then another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, the angel who has authority over fire, and he called with a loud voice to the one who had the sharp sickle, "Put in your sickle and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, for its grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle across the earth and gathered the grape harvest of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and the blood flowed from the winepress as high as a horse's bridle for 1,600 stadia. Revelation chapter 15. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and amazing, 7 angels with 7 plagues, which are the last, for with them the wrath of God is finished. And I saw what appeared to be a sea of glass mingled with fire, and also those who had conquered the beast and its image and the number of its name, standing beside the sea of glass with harps of God in their hands. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and amazing are your deeds, O Lord God the Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of the nations. Who will not fear, O Lord, the glory and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. All nations will come and worship you, for your righteous acts have been revealed." After this I looked, and the sanctuary of the tent of witness in heaven was open. And out of the sanctuary came the 7 angels with the 7 plagues, clothed in pure, bright linen, with golden sashes around their chests. And one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of the wrath of God who lives forever and ever. And the sanctuary was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no one could enter the sanctuary until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were finished. And now a few thoughts for today. Have you ever bought a magazine or a newspaper because you glanced at the headline in bold print? Well, that's what's going on in chapter 14 of Revelation. The victory is being announced ahead of time. The 144,000, as we've seen previously, is the church. We know this because they have the Father's name and the name of the Lamb written on their foreheads. A literal name written? No. But they are marked nonetheless. Christians today have a mark as well. We are sealed for the day of the Lord. The song they are singing is a new song, which none but the 144,000 can sing. Who can sing this song except those who have been washed in the blood of the Lamb? Those outside the church cannot know this song. Those outside Christ cannot sing this song. Only the redeemed know this song. Several angels make their announcements. The first one announces the gospel that is given to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. This is not a new gospel. He is not the preacher. He is only announcing it. The second angel announces the fall of Babylon, or Rome in this case. The third angel announces that anyone who worships the beast or his image or receives the mark, remember, it's not a literal mark of the beast, will receive God's wrath. We find yet another angel that tells the one riding on a cloud, white cloud, with a golden crown and a sharp sickle to put in his sickle and reap. The one on the cloud is Jesus. God alone rides in the clouds. Jesus is harvesting his own first. Remember the parable of the tares. Judgment has begun for Babylon. Other angels begin to reap with sickles also. Their task is quite different from Jesus. Chapter 15 begins with a great and marvelous sign. 7 angels with 7 plagues. Not just any plagues, but the last plagues that will be needed against Rome. This war is about Rome, not the Gauls, not Russia or China. Moses' song was about the victory of God over Egypt. The Song of the Lamb is about God's righteousness and his victory over all ungodliness, and here against Rome. The final scene begins. The 7 angels come from the dwelling place of God. One of the 4 living creatures gives them 7 bowls of God's wrath. The temple is filled with smoke, reminiscent of the scenes from the Old Testament when smoke filled the tabernacle and later the temple. When the smoke filled them, no one could enter. What a reassurance this must have been to the Christians of the first century to hear these words read. Rome's destruction was assured. They would suffer a little longer. Some would perish before the victory, but they would be preserved. What a comfort this must have been. Question of the day. Have you found comfort from God in your struggles of the day? And finally, a thought to meditate on today. God defeated the great Roman Empire. He will defeat all who stand opposed to him, no matter how dark the day is, no matter how desolate or bleak the future looks. His victory is assured. And those are our thoughts for today, December 24th.